Come, Lae'zel. We will free the Githyanki and dismantle the Empire. Let them be imprisoned no longer.
Mother Gith battled for liberty, but it was only here, with you, that I learned what it meant to be free. Orpheus, I'll remain here. My destiny is for neither you nor mine alone.
I will not say I'm pleased with your choice, but I will wish you good fortunes. Whatever may come, you are still Karlach Morgir, sister in freedom. Kulas! Farewell, Gestil, my liberator.
With the Githyanki gone, there's nothing left but the silence of the city, smouldering, waiting to be rebuilt. But it seems that Gale's mind is elsewhere.
The crown. It's somewhere in the Giontha. If I salvage the stones, I can reforge it. And once I have, I'll return it to Mystra. She'll cure me of my affliction, and I'll finally be free. And more time around. If this adventure has taught me anything, is that there are things in this world far more valuable than power. Besides, growing quite fond of this merry band of ours, and I'd quite like to see what happens to it. I'm sure Mystra will summon me soon enough, but until then, I propose we celebrate our victory the mortal way, with a drink in our hands and reckless abandon in our hearts.
Now you're talking. After all that, I think I'll need a drink in each hand and a third on the table. But I think right of choosing should fall to you. What'll it be?
Yes. We should see if the elf songs won't imbibe, but I'll be happy to be away from here and in your company. I honestly don't mind what we do once we get to the... Ow! What the... Oh, no. Oh, God. Well, it was nice when it lasted. Ah! I'm sorry. I have to go.
Back to the shadows. But perhaps not forever. Even the worst affliction can be fixed, with some amount of sacrifice.
It's over. And it's all because of you. You, who were destined to become a thrall. Thanks to you, there will be no Illithid empire, no death god's tyranny. You have earned your place amongst the legends of the sword. You are the saviors of Baldur's Gate. 6 months have passed since you defeated the Netherbrain. And since then, you have seen more of life than you ever thought possible. You are greeted as a savior, a champion, a hero. But sometimes you feel like something else entirely. An adventurer, a traveler, a survivor. You faced down the gods. You thwarted the grand design. Anything seems possible. But before you can write the next chapter of your story, you must end this one. That's why you're going back to where all of this began, answering an invitation to gather with your allies and friends.
Thou wert called here, some from above, some below. Spinning when it threatened to halt. Though thou wert drawn far apart in the months after the collapse of the Absolute, tonight, fate renews thy bond once more. Thou shouldst take care to preserve it. It is a great weapon, wielded in the hand of good. Go. Know one another once more.
What's up for discussion?
Friend? Friend! You came! Lots? Make friends with a turtle, a cat, a kraken. Kraken eats my cat friend, so I run away. Sad, tired now. Want sleep, want cave. Bear man? He is big, but not bigger than me. I like him. I go to him.
There you are. Keeping us all on tenterhooks so you could make a dramatic entrance, is it? Starting to wonder if you'd show up. Honestly, so have I. Oh, come here, will you? It's been forever. You feel a little more substantial than before. Less camping and scrounging off the land, I take it? Same. In fact, I found a nice meadow not far from where I live now. Every now and again, I'll spend the night there. For old time's sake. I'm glad you seem well. Trudy. Wandering, mostly. The adventuring life is almost a tonic when you're not constantly threatened by brain monsters and cultists. I can finally see the world beyond the cloister. One of my first stops was the House of the Moon in Waterdeep. It's the largest temple of Selûne in existence. It seemed like the perfect spot to reflect on my parents, on where they came from. And where I came from too, I suppose. Hard to imagine, isn't it? Me, of all people, in the lair of the Moon Witch herself. Gods, your truest act of heroism was putting up with all that char and drivel I was spouting for so long. Oh, I know they are. I can still sense them, I think. And one day we'll be reunited. Well, I've had run-ins with my former fellow Sharans on a couple of occasions. Word seems to have spread of what happened at the cloister. Now other chapters of Shar worshippers see me as a prime target to offer up to their lady as a sacrifice. Don't worry. I know their tired old tricks better than anyone. They'll need more than a hooded cloak and poisoned blade to best me. I don't know. Which is just the way I like it just now. Perhaps I'll just stick a pin in a map and see what I find, or head to the docks in the morning and scrounge a berth to find somewhere new. I'd like to see the islands, maybe, or head south to Arm. I heard there's an enclave of werecats that hunt the followers of dark gods by moonlight. I'd love to see if there's any truth to that. But enough about me. What have you been up to? Playing it coy, are we? Sounds like a girl I used to know. But you're entitled to your secrets. At least until the Hopefully these meetups will become a regular occurrence. It's not that I miss the tadpoles, but at least it brought us together. Now we've got to make the extra effort ourselves. I'm sure we will, but let's be proactive about it all the same. We're more than capable. After all, we've faced down bigger threats than wrangling together a few social calendars. Don't be a stranger.
I'll take that.
Reunited with friends amidst nature.
You see, Boo? I told you our friend was near. Breathe deep, Boo. The smell of heroes sings. To meet again where your journey began, my friend. An honor. For Minsk and his hamster both. Oh, and for Happy also.
Yes. Honored, of course.
See how your very presence snatches the breath from his chest? And it is no wonder. It is just this day that Happy learned of your legend, while we gazed down upon the very city you saved.
He dangled me from the high hall, upside down, for 2 hours.
The guild should not go creeping in high places if they do not have the stomach for them, It is well for Happy the strange portal appeared when it did. Minsk's arm was growing achsome. So I have.
Though it is a peace made more from blade and boot than it is any sense of brotherhood. 9 Fingers forbade any looting of the Illithid's fleshy vessels, and so Minsk guards what remains of the battle site, even from her. But where Minsk might once have thrown any sneaking scoundrels from the tower top, now I tell them of you. How you ruled the wickedness within. How they might do the same.
Yes, yes! I'll rule it! I'll be better!
No, of course. It is still for Boo to decide. No, no, my friend, do not begin this. It is too early in the evening for tears and passing Boo around for the blowing of noses. First, I must educate this sneak thief on the company he keeps. Will Ravengard, the blade of frontiers, devil-horned and angel-hearted. Lae'zel of Creshkiller, true child of Gith and true friend to Boo. Though she will and say it is not so. Astarion, who is banished by the sun itself for fear his Spanish soul might outshine it. We visit him much down in the dark places, though he often moves his lair without remembering to tell Minsk where. Gale, the man who would be a god, but then him for it too. Shadowheart. 2 gods tugged at her soul, but she managed to keep it all for herself in the end. Wait, Boo, did she do something with her hair? Halsin, Archdruid of Arch... somewhere. He is a much better man than he smells. And there, the champion of... having tentacles, Karlach. She was once very tall and strong like Minsk, but we still like her as she is. And finally, Jahira. If this is a name you do not already know, then not even Boo can save you. Study them well, sneak thief, for the best among them will be a guide for your guild. Heroes who put the city before themselves, who never falter in their duty. And more than this, without even a gift for the host.
But wait!
Go, my friend. Be among our friends. There is much work yet.
Surprised when he could source these. God, I remember one evening when we had to eat 14 apples, some fish heads, and a stale loaf of bread just to get by.
Ah, soldier. How glad I am to see you again. I'd started to wonder if I ever would. Honestly, never better. My life is so rich now, so multifaceted. I've wanted to share it with you, but maybe I was scared. I've changed so much. But then again, So have you. Don't I know it? It went so fast, didn't it? One moment we were on the Nautiloid, the next we were here. I'd ask you what you'd been up to for 6 whole months, but then I'd have to reciprocate. And I'm not sure you're ready for the truth. Let us test that theory. Do you remember how my favorite food used to be mutton chops? I'm now far more interested in, well, brains. True. But I've found ways to maintain my values while respecting that which I am, that which made it possible for me to live. I've made arrangements with a healer in the city. When a patient is beyond saving, but still able to speak for themselves, they're offered a choice. They can go as nature intends to take them, or when they're ready, when their goodbyes have been said, their affairs settled, and all that awaits them is pain, I relieve them. When I consume their brains, I am nourished by much more than the physical nutrition. Their memories, from birth to death, become part of me. I've lived hundreds of childhoods, first loves, marriages, feuds, and friendships. I remember them all. And in this way, we all live on together. I think of you too. This life of ours, soldier. It's a long one, if we're lucky. Who knows what the future holds for either of us? It's been wonderful to see you again. Reminds me of old times around the campfire. We used to think becoming a mind flayer was a fate worse than death. Life. For anything. Funny how things change, isn't it? Enjoy the night, my friend. I know I will.
Gods, I smell like a 70-year-old cinder. Withers yanked me from Avernus with my blade halfway through a Cambion's belly without so much as a chance at washing up. I'll forget all that. By the stars' light and the moon's glow, it's so good to see you, and I've got so much to tell you. The Hell Hunt's no mere duty. It's a thrill. The demons I've disintegrated, I don't suppose you'd indulge me. Yes. Styx devils, they're called. They usually prefer the frozen wastes of Stygia, but Zariel's got a few of her own for guarding the River of Blood. Fat bastards, all of them.
was on the heels of a Merrigan who'd been stalking the wild hills and sprinted a little too close to the sticks. I felt my mind start to drain, and Amnitsu's speciality. Bought just enough time for one of its minions to grab me and dangle me over the river. Could feel the sticks tugging at my... All that remained was a pair of paltry wings atop a pile of viscera. I won't lie. Losing the eldritch blasts and the hexes took some getting used to. Nothing but void, where once there was hellfire. So I stoked new fires in myself using the lessons my father once taught me. The blade of Avernus is a ranger, a hunter of the most hellish prey. I've missed you too. The rush of battles we fought, the heart-to-hearts, the nights around the fire. The comfort of knowing I didn't face the unknown alone. If I had to do it all over again, and I'd rather not, to be clear, I can't imagine not having you at my side. She's kept herself hidden, the wily arsehole that she is. But turns out, there's a way I could find her. I'm in contact with a diabolist out in Kalimshan, an expert on devils and their infernal tricks. And she's got some thoughts about my old sending stone of an eye. If my patron could use it to track me, we might be able to track her. Or so the theory goes. We meet in a 10-day. If the diabolist's right, the eye could lead me right to Mazora. It's past time her old pet gets to sink in his fangs. Go on, the night's young, all wasted.
Tempting.
It's
A
good to
beautiful
meet
night.
again.
I wish it could last forever.
Hello, darling. I wasn't sure our withered old friend could live up to his promise. But here we are. And you're looking more delicious than ever, if you don't mind me saying. Whatever you've been doing with your time, it clearly worked wonders. You've become a traveler and a vagabond. A soul after my own heart. But I'm glad to see the world has treated you well. You've earned it. We both have, in fact. And where better to celebrate our good fortune? An old haunt with old friends. Exactly what I feared. Without the protection of our little friends, I was just an ordinary spawn again. Burning in the sun. I fled the dock and found refuge in the shadows until night fell. I'm sorry I didn't seek you out that night. I felt ashamed. Like I'd lost everything just as you claimed your victory. I didn't want you to see me like that. But time lent perspective. It wasn't your victory, it was ours. And for all I'd lost, I'd gained so much more. I had freedom, strength, a whole new life. And it was time to live it. I've taken a turn as an adventurer and hero. It turns out no one actually cares about murder, as long as you murder the right people. And apparently I'm rather good at it. Yes, but you say all sorts of things. Honestly, I don't even listen half the time. It has made for a nice change, though. Inspiring hope in people, instead of terror. Well, I do try to inspire a little terror. I'm still me, after all. I did at first, but then I realized these shadows, this darkness, it's all a part of me. I spent too long defined by what other people did to me, the choices other people made for me. But that's over now. This is who I am, in all my glory, for better and for worse. That being said, I haven't completely given up on returning to the sun. If the opportunity presented itself, well, I wouldn't say no. But until then, I am happy. We've had quite the journey, you and I. From the moment I first threatened you, I knew you were someone special. Someone to take on the world with. I will miss our time together. But then again, maybe this isn't goodbye. So much as it's, see you later, darling.
Now, my dear friend, it's been looking very well indeed. Our skeletal friend will be very pleased to see I found my way here, despite my invitation getting lost in the post. Always, my friend. But the villain I must needs slay today is my greatest yet. A deadline. You won't be surprised to find I'm soon to publish a little holiday read about our adventures together. I've gotten quite good at replicating your signature, so you needn't even bother with the release form. You might help me with the title, though. I'm considering The Hero and Me. What do you think? Oh, terribly sorry, but you mistake me, my friend. I'm only accepting complimentary feedback at this time. Perhaps, once the manuscript is finished, you'd even be willing to write a foreword? Or better yet, I'll write a draft and you can just sign your name. Better still, I'll sign it for you. Hmm? Ah, your success really has been wonderful for my reputation. But you mustn't let me hog your attention all night, my friend. You've many friends to chat to, and I'd love to listen in.
You made it! Now the revelry can truly begin.
Far too.
You would think someone of my vintage would be inured to the passage of time. Seemed endless without your company. But now our paths cross once more. Just as I hoped they would, more like. The Oak Father has been kind to me this past while. Yet I cannot forget the bond we all forged together. It is one that can weather any distance, any passage of time. I know it can, for I feel the longing for old friends in my heart each day. Well, I am not normally given to imbibing, but this is a special occasion, and I believe our dear Withers procured a fine honey mead as part of the celebratory victuals. Even the most ascetic of nature's servants would be tempted by such an elixir, but that can wait. Your company is what truly drew me. Now, we have much to catch up on. Do not allow me to ramble on. I am eager to hear all you've been doing. In that case, very well. Our community grows A true home for all. In another 6 months, I would wager the scars of the past will be entirely invisible, even to those who remember them. The old masonry of Moonrise Towers and Rythwin have been repurposed into new homes, and the land is rich with harvests and bountiful trees. Nature and civilization are in harmony, stronger together. In a manner of speaking, yes. Though it is a more complex, evolving beast than I could ever have anticipated. True balance is no simple, fixed thing. I see that now. We welcome folk from all walks of life. Anyone who wishes for a new start. Naturally, it can be chaotic at times, but it is a thrilling sort of chaos. It thrives in ways I could never have dreamed of. You are welcome whenever you like, and for however long you please. Now, please, tell me all, and spare no details. I shall not lie. I have an ulterior motive in wishing to hear all. It is the children, you see. My charges. Their appetite for bedtime tales is greater than I could ever have anticipated. Another story, Daddy Halsin. Another is the chorus that greets me each nightfall. They have all but exhausted my repertoire in but a few short months. No mean feat given the lifetime I have lived. I desperately need new material, please. My reputation is at stake. You would ask to be tucked in next. But whatever the intrepid adventurer needed, I would have been glad to provide. I am all ears, though I never cared for that phrase. A rather unsettling image. You have kept yourself busy. I expected no less, in truth. I shall be able to keep the children enthralled for a few more nights yet, thanks to you. And should you wish to retell of your exploits in person, well, I shall not object to a night off. Now, it would be cruel of me to hoard you all to myself for the evening, as much as I would like to. I shall leave you to the others for now, unless there was anything else. Do you truly even need to ask? Of course. Who could not open their home to a befeathered hero of Baldur's Gate? And I did promise the children I would bring them back a surprise. Imagine their faces. Quite often. They come and go as they please. But with so many playmates to avail of, they are far from strangers. They ask after you often. What you did for them will never be forgotten. I can see it in the land all around me. But more importantly, I see it in their faces whenever they visit. To make a child smile is to dabble with the power of gods as far as I'm concerned. By all means. Your embrace makes me feel safer than any armor could. Before you go, I have something for you. Just a little keepsake, really. Do you remember how I told you I like to whittle? I made this. Ducks are my favorite, but I thought they were particularly fitting in this case. They are migratory birds, of course, traveling far and wide with the turn of the seasons. Yet, they always find their way back to where they belong. Just like old friends find themselves back in each other's company. Just a token to remember me by. Now, I've taken up enough of your time. Go on.
A pity mutton chops no longer hold any temptation.
Old friend. I thought slaying Vlaakith's hunters in the Cliffs of Swords' Teeth might be the month's pinnacle. But I was wrong. Being right here, with you, is an infinitely greater pleasure. Were it not for you, I might not have known the value of partnership, connection. I found new allies now. New friends. People I trust and who trust me in return. We've heard word of a Githyanki outpost hidden deep in Chult, the last of Vlaakith's Sword Coast strongholds. We mean to slay every last Sarth and Kithrak. I thought perhaps you'd care to join us. You always did have a great fire in your belly. I'm glad to see you have kept it kindled. Now go, mingle while you can. That's the word, right? Mingle? There is plenty of time yet for slicing scalps and tasting blood. This is nice. Yes, I think that's the right word for it.
Well now. You can make yourself presentable when you have a mind to. Ah, how nice to be understood again. I have spent the past months bickering with builders and bankers, all to restore the city exactly as it was. Same twisting alleys for purse pickers, same wooden buildings ready to get burnt by next year's dragon, same cisterns overflowing, huh? The upper city has been almost entirely rebuilt. That's where the gold is. Even the builder's scaffolds are cleared from the streets. No dust left to sneeze at. Baldurians simply get on with it. Stubbornness, civic spirit, plain stupidity. Perhaps all three. But nothing I will sniff at any longer. Harpers have come from half the world over to lend aid. Farmers, masons, locking up comrades for pocketing 8 ones. They might learn a thing or two if they don't expel her. Again. I suppose I am. I tried to steer them clear of my life's work, but they have chosen it for themselves. There is still much to do. People to house, a Harper network to rebuild. I may have little love for this city, but so long as my family chooses to serve it, I can do no less. You want to join the Harpers, even after all you have seen. Ha! All right. I won't deny any willing arm for the cause, even those who should know better. There is, usually a ceremony. Reciting of oaths, singing of songs. I'm sure we'll get to all of that as the drinks flow. For now, I give you only the most simple Harper creed. To look for the light, and watch always for the dawn. But to enjoy the night while we have it, huh? Now, before this night grows any deeper, I must inspect the refreshments. You'll never know. Some ne'er-do-well might have tampered with the wine.
All of our friends were there, but perhaps Happy has an opinion on who is...
Happy? Gonna live with the bear man. Gonna fight him. But no bite. Promise. Yes. Miss this. More. Yes. Miss this. More. Yes. Miss this.
I must be careful to not overindulge tonight, lest I lose control and slip into bear form.
Though I'm going to get very hungry very soon.
No traps, please.
For a nice vintage. Why were we scrounging in barrels and crates for supplies when he could source these? God, I remember one evening when we had to eat 14 apples, some fish heads, and a stale loaf of bread just to get by.
Oh, hello. Let me guess, you've got some suggestions about the music choice. You have no idea. You've no idea who I am. Withers couldn't even find a bard that knows who I am. I owe him a favor, one he is eternally invoking. I thought honoring the worthy was a fair price to pay for Withers to pull me out of the fugue plane. Alas, one purgatory to another. Languishing in obscurity. Cyric knew what he was doing when he punished me for that song, the prick. Before I was banished to the fugue plane, I had song prayers coming out the proverbial ears. Guess how many I get now? None.
You feel a pang of divine guilt. Musical prayers went out of fashion among bards when Melil, Lord of Song, offended the god Cyric and was ejected from the pantheon.
I'm washed up, I'm afraid. You know. You're bloody right. It is an honor. Deep down, I knew you'd recognize me. You're a fellow bard, after all. What can I do you for? Fantastical news. Carry on I shall. Unless my taste in music is too antique, of course.
Here goes nothing.
Good song, good company, and good wine from the looks of it.
Withers has a keen eye for a nice vintage. Why were we scrounging in barrels and crates for supplies when he could source booze? God, I remember one evening when we had to eat 14 apples, some fish heads, and a stale loaf of bread just to get by.
Though I'm going to get very hungry very soon. mustn't think about any of the local brains. Far too tempting.
A beautiful night.
This has a keen eye for any nice vintage. Why were we scrounging in barrels and crates for supplies when he could source booze? God, I remember one
Pity
evening
mutton
when we had to
chops
eat
no
40
longer hold any
apples, some
temptation.
fish heads and a stale loaf of bread just to get by.
As we're cool considered, lest you become the hinder.
What a lovely occasion this is.
The whole gang is here. Wish I'd had time to polish up the horns.
Though I'm going to get very hungry very soon.
Past made present. I'm glad for it. For this.
Reunited with friends amidst nature. What more could I wish for?
Mustn't think about any of the local brains.
Withers has a keen eye for a nice vintage.
Tempting.
Why were we scrounging in barrels and crates for supplies when he could source these? God, I remember one evening when we had to eat 14 apples, some fish heads, and a stale loaf of bread just to get by.
A pity mutton chops no longer hold any temptation.
Withers has a keen eye for a nice vintage. Why were we scrounging in barrels and crates for supplies when he could source these? God, I remember one evening when we had to eat 14 apples, some fish heads, and a stale loaf of bread just to get by.
Cool, fresh air. By the living gods, I hear.
I've missed wine. Had to resort to making my own cider recently, which isn't bad, glad, don't get me wrong. But a girl can't have fun with apples alone. You might be onto something there, though the name might need work. Somehow it sounds rude, even though I know otherwise. Always. Careful. I might not let go one of these times. Don't be a stranger.
Ah, right.
This is...
After everything, this feels nice. A chance to take a breath, metaphorically speaking.
Good song, good company, and good wine from the looks of it.
Withers has a keen eye for a nice vintage. Why were we scrounging in barrels and crates for supplies when he could source these? God, I remember one evening some fish heads and a stale loaf of bread just to get by.
This one night is like any other, and yet different. Thou art the savior of Baldur's Gate, until such time it requires saving again. How dost thou feel? If thou could only see the paths of fate untaken, thy mind would surely break. Be glad of thy chosen path. It is, after all, thine. Enjoy the revelry of the day. Thou deservest at least that much. What indeed? Prick up thy ears and listen. The balance of the world restored. The balance of these lives, mortal and otherwise, brought to account. Hear me, thou heroes, wastrels, friends. I have waited long to tell you these words. It is over. For now. Thou played thy part in weaving the fabric of fate itself, but for every thread you sewed, so did the gods unravel another. Sleep, rest, revel, but be ready. For thou mayst yet be needed. Until we meet again, I wish thee every possible fortune, health, wealth, love, and above all, problems worth solving. to you. There thou art, the dead three. Thy faces gods, thy actions barely worthy of the name. Didst truly believe thy ploy would succeed? Didst believe I would not notice? Thou soughtst to bolster thy strength by taking away the souls of mortals. Of Bane, the whimper of Baal, the death mule of Merkel. Felled by mortals, I overestimated thee. They did not. Vermin, away. Thou wilt trouble us no more.